welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Lauren.
And I'm Ian.
And this is the weekend or anytime body weight workout where all you need is yourself and a little bit of space. We'll start with a light warm-up, hands, wrists, toes, ankles, and then we'll get into some crawls and, of course, some single leg fun. Let's get started.
Let's get started is right. And let's get started right on the floor here today. So we'll start with those toes and feet as Lauren has mentioned. So let's pull a single heel off the floor and then open the knee to the side, but then pull it right back to the midline. Then using your glutes, those hip extensors, push the hips forward to have the heel return to the floor. Same thing other side, feel a pull, maybe some tension on your hamstring as the knee goes forward, and then open the knee to the side, but pull to the middle. Then push the hip through, return the heel. Now keep the knee towards the midline as you go to the balls of the feet, those metatarsals, and then allow yourself to point the toes, perhaps just like in your handstand. Then go back to the balls of the feet, use your glutes, extend through, and repeat again. Find middle, then find those toe tips, and then back to the balls of the feet, and then hips extend through. Knees towards over those toes. Hike a hip or shift a hip one way, hike a hip, shift a hip the other, and then find that middle position and come on tall right through the middle again. Let's do the same thing, knees towards over toes, and just being aware of those hip hike positions here, but keep the hips level as we extend the hips and push through. Then from here, use your glutes so much that you extend those hips over top of the feet and find a rise. Then are your balls of feet connected? Are the ankle bones pulling together or deviating away like I am here? So pull them together. Keep the knees straight, keep the glutes squeezed, keep the rib cage over the hips, and always keep reviewing that checklist as we slowly return flat feet to the floor. Then we'll go knees over toes and let the heels lift up just a little bit and encourage those knees to bend. And then knees softly finding the floor. Awesome. Hips extend through and a quick wrist warm up from here as it is our hand balancing practice. Fingers, calluses, full hands. Explore the hand the same way we did the foot. Right now, it's flat, full on the floor. Find that ball of foot, metacarpal heads this time, and then return down. As you do this first knuckle push-up variation, trying to keep those elbows straight, blood donations facing forward, and then up again. Maybe the thumbs leave the floor or just very light tension throughout. And last one, flat hands again. Then push the floor away, push the hips through, and for 10 seconds here, let's do our cat or our post-tuck scoop of the hips, cramping up the glutes, maybe feeling that load stretch across our hips. And again, continue to think, bring the rib cage forward. Then we'll chip chop on those hips and hinge back, fingertips landing laterally this time. And as I press towards Lauren, I'll move away from Lauren. Then if I push away from Lauren, I'll move back towards. Doing that opposite tension through the floor will help that handstand practice here. So feel that tension pushing one way to move the other. And last one or two here each way. Are your fingertips connected to the floor? Are those callus lines connected? Share the load so it's not just showing up on the wrist. Then use your hands and push through and have a little bit of a shake out there. One more wrist movement for me, and that's going to be the gorilla fist style here. So make gentle landings on those knuckles 1 and 2, meaning index and middle. Keep the shoulders low. Open the set of fingers. One hand at a time is sufficient here. You could do both, but I like the one. And as we see on Lauren there, the wrist is flexed over. And then with the strength of the extensors, pull yourself back to that stacked position. Same thing other side, little bit of wrist flexion. Keep the elbow straight, keep the armpit low. Then press into the ground to stack back on knuckles 1 and 2. Repeating other side, final one. Wrist flexion, elbow straight, armpit low. There is always that checklist. Just keep reviewing it and adding on. And then final one here, other side, over the wrist. Breathe into it. Find the strength to come home. Go back to that original shape on hands. And again, wrist extension is when those shoulders go towards over the hands. Then push the floor forward through the hands that you send your energy back. Try to keep your tailbone like a cow. Repeat that 1 or 2 more times here. As we pull the hands to the knees, we encourage that wrist extension, important for push-ups and planks and handstands. And if we push away, we'll go the opposite way. Then I'll just push so much Then I'll get off my hands and we'll extend our hips like Lauren here and follow along for the next set of cues.
Excellent. Let's warm up those hips really quickly, and then we'll come back to the floor for some core. So we'll tuck the toes, we'll rock ourselves back over, try to find a balance, keep the balance, press yourself up to tall to hold, and then slowly control the down. Excellent. With those hips, let's rotate them in their joints. So we'll start taking one leg to the front and rotating it open from the socket, and then bringing it underneath of us. And repeat on the other side, other leg forward. It opens from up here, not just that ankle, and comes underneath. Now let's transfer weight to a single leg and point the other leg out front. Let's keep the toe pointed, keep the toe touching the floor and the hips level as we rotate the leg in the socket to hide the inseam, and then open to show the inseam. And do that again. Internally rotate to hide the inseam, and then externally rotate to show. Keeping that inseam forward, send the leg to the side, and repeat the same thing. Gently turn the leg in, and then turn the leg open. And repeat again. Turn the leg in, feeling those butt cheeks. Turn the leg open. Flex the foot, straight leg underneath. Repeat on the other side. Point to the front. Hips bowl and punch level. Toe is touching as we rotate the leg in from the hip, and then all the way open. And one more time each way. All the way in, hiding the inseam, and then all the way open. Draw that nice quarter circle, keeping the inseam forward as you send the leg to the side. And again, turn it in and turn it open. As we turn it in, make sure that's not happening from the low back. Make sure you're not twisting. And then back to open. Flex the foot, return it underneath. Give that a little shake and wiggle. And let's make it to the floor to warm up our core. We'll revisit this time our hinge. So we're not going to revisit it because we haven't done it. We're going to visit it. Using your hinge, our shins stay vertical, long spine, hips are back. Feel those hamstrings a little bit. And then we're going to walk ourselves forward. Our first position here, let's go into our bear hover. So our hands are underneath our shoulders, our toes are tucked. And before we even lift those knees, start pulling the floor together underneath you, bracing your abs, feeling that tension. Pulling your right hand towards your right hip and your left hand towards your left hip. And now keep that tension going, but let's lift those feet off the floor. Now that we're here, can we pull a little bit more together? Brace the abs, breathe underneath, keep the shoulders down, distribute the weight through the full hand, and then land softly. We're going to do the same thing, but change that pattern of tension. So we're pulling right hand to left hip, and now left hand to right hip. That X pattern of tension, you're not moving. Keep the tension, try to hover the knees. Keep that pulling together. Breathe. Tight, tight, tight for 5, 3, 2, and then soft landing. Next from here, let's give those hands a break and come down to that side plank as pictured in that title slide. So with our knees bent, our elbow right underneath our shoulder. Think about that bottom shoulder for a second. It's pulled out of our ears. The rib cage is lifted up. We feel those lats. The knees, the hips, and the shoulders are all in the same line. And then we'll think about pulling the cage away, engaging those obliques, and continue to lift the hips. We can feel those bottom side obliques help us lift as we're here. We're breathing, keeping the hips forward. Hold. If you want to add a little bit more, we could take that top leg and lift it out nice and straight. Keep the shoulders stacked. Keep that breath. Hold for a couple more seconds, pulling that bottom side away from the floor for 5, 4, 3, 2, knees come together, land the hips, and then relax. Nice, repeat the same thing on the other side. So again, it's the knees bent in line with the hips, the elbows right underneath the shoulders, hips extended, pack, lift cage, lift hips, and then if you want, that top leg extends, and we lift it in line, nice straight line with our body. Keep thinking that hot fire underneath our side body here as we keep the obliques lifted away from the floor, those lats engaged, breathing, holding for 5, 3, 2, then knees come together, soft landing. We'll stand up via our hinge. So we'll come back to all fours. We'll lift those knees off the floor, lift the hips, then walk ourselves back to our hinge position, and then push through to tall. Whew.
Core strategies, check. Wrist check-ins, check. And Lauren mentioned those squats. So you might as well get those knees bending right here as well. Let's do our clock variations today, meaning midnight is front, lateral is 9 and 3, and 6 o'clock is behind us. And on a single leg, take the knee to the front, point it out front, land toe ball heel. Pull yourself onto that front leg, and then push yourself forward to go back. Then knee front, knee diagonal, land toe ball heel, pull together to create stability, and push away for the power to return. Knee front, knee side, but the hips are forward, land, toe ball heel, and a quick pause. Hike those hips, maybe do a little hula, clockwise, counterclockwise, but where is level, build that awareness, and then push through together. Knee front, knee side, keep looking forward, but turn, and then I'll end up facing that 8 o'clock or that back corner, and then push to return, and then a Michael Jackson style toe drag to the back, straighten the back knee, land with a straight leg, and as Lauren's doing there, that back leg bends, and then push forward to come under those hips again. Repeat on the other side, so it's to the front, through the ankle, land toe ball heel, pull yourself onto that front leg, and then push together. Then towards that diagonal, land toe ball heel. Hello.
You did.
And then push together. Then it's the same thing to the side, land with the knee facing sideways, but the hips forward, and then hike those hips. Perhaps do a little bit of our hula hip. Where's level, where's extended, and push to return. Knee front, knee side, keep looking forward. Absorb quietly, and then power away together. Now the knee stays in place, and we reach the leg back, and it lands, and we pull ourselves underneath, and then push forward and back respectively to return. Both feet underneath the hips.
All right, we'll get back to the floor, and this time let's take our bear crawl for a little bit of a crawl in the forward backwards direction. Just put some more weight into the hands, put some more weight into the core, and then we'll progress to our kick-ups. This time let's do our forward fold to get there, so our chin's tucked, our blades together. We flex through that C-spine. Then we keep the blades together and we try to flex through that rib cage. Keep the weight shifted forward in your feet as you try to pull your belly button in and roll forward. Next, we'll walk, well, maybe take a second because it feels real good. Then, next, walk ourselves out. And let's go right away into our knees hovered off the floor as we did before. Now, we're going to walk forward, which means our opposite hand and foot are going to try to come off the floor at the same time. We're breathing. We're bracing. We're walking 2 more steps in that forward direction. And then if it feels okay, let's walk backwards again. As we do this, we have a bowl of water on our back. And we're trying not to slosh that water too much or spill it off. Line those hands up, lift the hips, slowly walk yourself back. Feet stay underneath you, tuck your chin, and then roll yourself back up. Head is last to land. Whew, excellent.
Movement clock variation number 2. So as we progress the squats coming up shortly too, feel free to come back to these movement clock variations if the squat is a little bit too intense for you. Educate those spaces around. It's a single leg that bends and that leg stays put while the other leg follows that midnight or straight ahead line and hip extend through leg under. Take the same leg towards that diagonal reach and then push through. Out at the side, hike those hips. Slosh the punch bowl around, find level, and then push through. Stay forward with the head, the hips, the heart here, everything stays forward except that leg reaches back together. And then same thing, find midline back, knee towards over toe, and then extend your hip through. Switching feet, the leg that does the bending stays put. The other leg is very light tension on the floor, extend through. Then take it to the side. Are those hips level and engaged here? And then pull together and do that little check out to the side again. Hike both sides, left and rights. Slosh that punch bowl around, find level, stay strong and return. Now stay forward with the head, the heart, and those hips, and then together, and the final repetition to the back. And underneath, movement clocks, lots of reps. You can do multiple reps of those, but take your time, build that awareness, and I think.
Next, we're going to get into those kick-ups. So we'll start with that tripod entry. We'll do our usual I go, you go fashion. So Ian will go first here. Go with one of us and then take a break in between just to let those wrists rest. In this tripod entry, we have two hands on the floor, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Let's try to get those shoulders stacked over top of the wrists. And then we're first going to think just about getting a little bit of air time. So just try to get off the floor. 1 millisecond. And then if that's going okay, maybe it's 1, 2 milliseconds. And a 1, 2, good. And we're gently and slowly adding a little bit of power, but always coming back to that landing position. Try to alternate which leg you take off, whether it's doing a couple in a row this time on one leg and switching next time, or doing a little scissor switch.
Baby airs, those little small air gaps, as Lauren said, very light, but very intense works here. So as Lauren's shoulders are stacked over the wrists, that's again incorporating that wrist extension from the warm-up. And making sure we're breathing. How does it feel to be upside down today? Lauren's doing that nice scissor switch right there. And down with control. Up with one, down with the other, as Lauren's showing. I did the same, and then switch sides. Both variations are good.
We'll try that again, that same tripod entry. As you get a little more comfortable, try to add a little bit more air. But as I said earlier, we're always coming back to those feet. Let's avoid that kick over or kick to the side right now. To make sure we get back to those feet, if you leave a leg trailing behind you, it will pull you back down towards the floor. So try to create that L-like shape, leaving a leg to bring you back down. We're landing softly. Our hands are nice and spread out, using that full hand to anchor us on the floor.
Taking your time. This has been more than a 10-year pursuit for us to work on these handstands, and we're still not done yet. Keep adding those layers to refine your skills and regress where you feel is necessary. You can learn a lot from just practicing this tripod kick up. Lauren has a couple more. For us who are done, we're resting and marveling, and then we're coming into those single leg squats now. Hands giving a break, working on those other balances, namely at the legs. So pull up to the ankle and have either the dorsa, meaning foot to shin shape, or the toe point, because that is a nice shape for that handstand. And let's get that knee towards over toe. Keep the knee forward for a second, then open the knee to the side, but keep the hips extended. Then close the knee to the front, and then push the hip through, finishing tall. Repeating one more like that, pull yourself down, create that time under tension. We don't have to do 100 repetitions to feel a safe, strong exercise burn here, but practice time under tension, quality of movement as you finish tall. Return onto 2 feet. Maybe a little shake, and then the same thing then on the other side. So pull up to the ankle, the knees are facing forward as you go knee towards over toe. The hips stay extended, heart forward. Close the knee to the front, and again, concentrate on pushing the hip through from those glutes. Then repeat one more as we go down, descending. Then the hips stay forward with the knee to the side. Then the knee closes middle, push the hip through, finish tall on 2 feet.
Excellent. Let's try that step-in entry. So in our step-in entry, we have our arms overhead to start. We have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and we have that hollow position, our rib cage down. Then, again, baby air to start. So just little kicks here as we try to find a little bit of time off the floor. The big thing with our kick up or our step-in entry is finding just the right amount of power we need to get towards upside down, but not to kick ourselves over. So take your time finding that. It takes a while to figure that one out, especially when things change. So as you kick up and progress towards overhead, nice. Using those hands, that trailing leg behind you to always bring you back.
Finishing like you could do more is a great thing. Avoid all-out fatigue or failure here. It gets harder as you go through it, of course, but keep fresh with those reps that you could do a little bit more. Let the workout give you more that's going to take away here today. So Lauren had that nice little almost scissor switch there. Heard the ankles click together. That's a fun one too. There we go. But as Lauren said, avoid the over kick. Find that power that's just right for you.
Whew.
I'm feeling good. I'm gonna do my double set, check in with your body, and let's follow along for one more set of those kick-ups.
So as we know, this is a lot of work on our wrists. If we could do this next set, let's do it. If you're not into these kick-ups, you could practice those crawls that we did today and previously in other classes, like our bear crawl, our elephant, a plank hold, even just holding that side plank for some of this duration of kick-ups. Great way to build that endurance on core, and then also to try to build that endurance on your hands. As we do this last set of step-in entries here today, we can hear how soft Ian's accepting the floor and then pushing the floor away all the way to get back up to tall there.
The quiet factor is an efficient and a strong factor to consider in the practice. Clunking and landing heavily into the floor on a run around the block or in this handstand practice is a lot of extra work on those joints. Absorb, fingers, calluses, hands, toes, metatarsals, and heels. Feel that nice controlled effort as you land and take off.
Woo. Woo.
Nice. We'll do more handstands or similar in just a second. Let's do one more set of a single leg squat variation here. This time, the leg will be extended at the knee, but same pattern, front, side, back to the front. So pull it up to the ankle, and let's get our nice little knee bend. Then straighten the leg at the knee, open it towards the side, try to emphasize that turnout shape, bring it back to the front, flex the knee, and then push the hip through. One more time, knee towards over toe, then point the foot, straightening the knee, turn out and stay forward in those hips, and then back to the front, underneath, hip through. Switching feet, same thing. It's a knee over toe squat, heavy through the foot again, straight leg. It's likely that we twist, so stay forward, straight knee of course, until we bend it, and then stand tall. And final one, knee over toe, straighten the leg, hip forward, hip forward, hip forward, leg bend, hip through, finish tall. Nice.
All right, let's do one more round of handstands here today, and let's try to do handstands for 30 seconds. Whether that's working on a crawl for 30 seconds, working on your kick-ups, whether it's that step-in or tripod entry, 30 seconds of continuous work. Try to make that work on your wrists if they're feeling okay, just to, again, build up that endurance. We'll start in about 8 seconds here. Ian's probably doing his step-in entry.
You know it, you know it.
I'm gonna try my kick-ups and see how they go today. For 3, 2, about 30 seconds here.
Oh. 10 more seconds if you can here.
Whew. 3, 2, and soft landing. Whew.
Some of the exercises we do emphasize the line, and others just emphasize that time under tension. Making sure that we try to stay stacked and try to stay straight on those elbows, but build up that endurance on the muscles to handle the fun load that is that handstand.
Excellent. So that was a fun time today in our body weight practice. On Tuesday, we're back with our kettlebell, where we've been working on our single arm swings, our cleans, and get-ups, of course. Stay tuned for that. In the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe our YouTube channel. We still are on Patreon at this point in time. And check out our website for in-studio classes, as well as our blog and newsletter. Until next time, take care.
Stay strong.
And let's train soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.